Hello, I'm Zuz, and I have a complaint. When I was younger, I would notice how kittens would play, and at the time it looked like fighting to me. So I would ask, why are they fighting? And adults would answer me, no, they're just playing. That's just what it looks like. So I kept thinking that every time I saw small creatures playing. Why does it look like fighting? A lot of people have done studies about play, its role and its effect on human psychology, and a child's growth specifically. This science has many sub-studies. Some of them study how the child's brain evolves through dealing with others, how communication skills evolve, especially empathy, and play in formative years is very important to develop hand-eye coordination. When a child plays with someone else, they're placed in different scenarios. They have to think of someone else's position. So they're put into a situation where they have to understand someone else's feeling, how they view the world, someone else's point of view, someone else's perspective. Competition makes a child realize that there are different ways of playing. If your way is better, you continue on it and you perfect it. If someone else's way is better, then you try to adopt it and improve it. Skill is used to evolve and grow. Aside from that, we can actually study other cultures through how their children play. So every culture has its games and what is considered for children and what is specifically not. This also changes with time as well as place. Games that are for girls and games that are for boys differ, but even that difference differs in every place and time. So play is surrounded by many topics of interest for many fields of study in order to understand our culture, other cultures, and how we all evolve over time. For me personally, I love to know how the people that I know used to prefer to play. So if there's a person who's close to me or a person that I'd like to work with, it matters to me to know the way in which they used to prefer to play, because that's essentially how they communicate, how they learn, and therefore how they work. When I was younger, I used to prefer to play by myself. I grew up as an autodidact, and until this day, I perform so much better when I work alone. I put a schedule for myself, and I'm extremely disciplined in executing my tasks. There is a relationship between work and play, and they're very difficult to separate scientifically, personally, and culturally. And that's a bit strange because the definition of play is taking part in an activity for leisure or recreational purposes, and not for practical or productive uses. To put it simply, play is the opposite of work. Play is always this mysterious concept that every field of study can't seem to grasp because it doesn't have a result that we can understand. What does it mean to say it doesn't have a result? That means there isn't pressure towards succeeding or failing. We play until we're done playing. When we grow and we want to take play with us, we try to give it value, so we give it a result. Playing with a ball now has points, and there's a whole industry that depends on it. Now it has a result. When we used to play house, we grew it into different types of performance, shows, a whole industry, box office returns. What I like about English is that the word for performance on stage is play, and performance is usually referred to as acting, as in the act of anything that has to do with being human to human. Which has led me to the question, why is play the opposite of work? Why do we separate between studying and playing? Why is there a job and a hobby? The way I see it, honestly, is that people who think this way really don't like their job, and they separate it from their sense of identity. Someone like me, I consider what I do a really big part of my personality, my brain, my soul, and the way I communicate with the world in general. Even with the examples I brought up, play is not considered productive unless we succeed in it materialistically. Just quit playing those video games. Unless you're gonna win these big contests and buy a house, that's fine. Stop with this whole acting and doing stage. Unless you become a big famous thespian, that's okay. Our daughter writes stories, but if she makes money out of being a big literary figure, that's okay. There's play and a job. Play, business. Play, industry. Play, commerce. Creativity, that's usually associated with the arts, exists in every field, and it only shows in its true form in play. Every science has invention, ingenuity, something new, something evolved, made better, done creatively. And if your mindset is focused on an activity that results into either success or failure, you're never going to do anything new. You're never going to be creative. The essence of creativity is to work without the expectation of a result, to be ready for failure in a way that makes it an essential part of the entire activity. The way the mind works when it is in a space that says nothing you do is ever going to be wrong. Play. This is how you can evolve as an individual, as a group, as a society, as a civilization. We need to reassess our priorities when it comes to the definition of productivity. We have to realize that this world that we built is based on quantifiable profit. And I'm not saying we should let go of capitalism as a whole, but we should include more creative activities for the purpose of mending this system. Even when it comes to competition in business, we have to adopt a mentality of play. It's competition for the sake of everyone's growth. It's not a war. The goal is for the entire game to evolve. For me, as a person that works in several fields in the creative industry, moral support doesn't really get you anywhere. If I can pay my bills with moral support, I'd be the richest person on earth. So if you call yourself a supporter of the arts and you're not supporting it financially, you're not a supporter of the arts. What I'm trying to say is that the world needs people with different skill sets to complete each other and to help each other to grow, to build a good spirit of competition and sportsmanship and acceptance of all types and shapes of success, even the ones that might seem like failure. So just quit playing. I'm just kidding. Thank you. اسمع